Hey guys, welcome back. Today is a very different video from like a tutorial. I'm going to be talking about the tips that I wish I knew when I started with AI and automation. So these are things that would have saved me months and months of progress. And these are things that I wish someone told me when I started, or maybe I did know them, but I just didn't think they were important. But these are the things that I think are the most important. So I'm by no means an expert at all, but I recently got my 10th client and majority of those 10 are monthly recurring clients. So if you told me that, 3 to 6 months ago, I would not have believed you. All the majority of those clients have come in the last like 3 months. So I think I've kind of worked out a way where I can systemize it and continue to get clients, and it's not like a shot in the dark sort of thing. So these are the tips that I wish I knew, and these are things that I do every day and practice. And if I knew these things, I'm telling you, it would have been such an easier road for me. I focused on so much things that didn't matter, and yeah, these are the things that if I had to start again, I would be telling everybody to do. So yeah, this is a very unedited video, by the way. This is gonna be like just 20 minutes of just basically rambling, no cuts, no fancy edits, but the information is very valuable. So if you want any sort of, if you ever thought about trying this sort of stuff, I recommend seeing through this whole video because there's some good source in here. And if you guys ever want like any questions or anything, you can just email me. I love answering questions. People always ask me, how can I do this? What can I do for this? So yeah, don't be afraid to email me or leave a comment, and I'll always respond. So yeah, let's just jump in. Okay, so I've got a couple tips written down here, but this video is going to be mostly just rambling, but I did write down some just to give a bit of structure, but a lot of these tips are basically just going to be extended on. So, the first thing I would definitely say is you definitely don't need to be good at everything in the AI space and automation. You just got to find 1 to maybe 3 things that you want to get really good at and learn, and then everything else just discard it because you can't have too much going on. You'll never be able to learn everything. This space changes so fast, and there's it's too much to learn, and there's too overwhelming. You got to get good at even just one thing if you got really good at that. But I say 1 to 3 things, and when I say things, I mean automations or projects, things that you could specialize in. So I don't know, like a cold outreach system or a inbound lead qualifier, things like that. Get really good at 1 or 2 of those things, master it, be the best at it, learn how to apply it to different niches. Not every niche. You should only be trying to target a few niches and getting good at those niches. But yeah, this will get you a long way if you can just lock in and focus on one thing. You just watch every YouTube video about that one thing. Get all of the software you need. Don't cheap out. You know, that's one of the things I would also say is with um with risking in the beginning. In the beginning, I halted myself massively and added months and months onto progress, all because all because I just didn't want to, spend and invest money into my business, and I had to do things a long way, and I had to do things not unethical. Sorry, I had to do things in ways that were not very economic, if that makes sense. So, you know, if you have softwares that you need for your offer or your service, get those softwares, bite the bullet. You might lose, I don't know, a couple $100 a month for a few months, not even, but like in the long term, that is going to be nothing. And if you invest in these softwares that are made to help you, I'm not saying buy everything that is not even needed, but when there's something that you definitely need for your company and what you're doing, find those softwares and yeah, invest in them, and it's just going to speed up everything and make life so much easier for you, and it's going to also make your product better for your clients. So that's something I would definitely say. I know that's not really related to this tip, but yeah, don't be afraid to learn something very well and then invest all of the money into that and get really good at it. Don't cheap out, if that makes sense. Now, this kind of builds onto this last point, but in the beginning, if I went back, I would just focus on automations that help with sales. So if you want to get clients quickly, this is the best thing to do. You want to do sales automations. This can be inbound, outbound, doesn't matter. But these are the easiest things to sell because you have to think of it from their point of view. Do they want to buy something? They don't know who you are. The only way you're going to be able to get them interested, I'm not saying you can't sell other things, but if you're going to outreach to somebody, cold call, email them, and you're going to say, I can get you X amount of new leads or X amount of new sales calls in 1 month, or you don't pay anything, or some crazy offer where they're getting money out of it. Basically, people are always going to be interested if you can help them get more money. People always want more revenue. No business is going to say no to more money. So if you can create offers and automations that help with sales, doesn't have to be outbound. You don't have to be like doing like cold outreach for a client, but even if you just help their inbound, like maybe speed to lead or qualifying inbound leads and replying to them as soon as possible, stuff like that. Things that um, things that would obviously improve their revenue in the long term. These can be the easiest things to sell because it's a no-brainer for a lot of people. If you can create that difference from the investment they're making in you and how much value they're getting out of you, why would they not do it? If that makes sense. So yeah, what the things I'll speak about, the automations that I would recommend that coming to this point. It's going to be like cold outreach systems, like cold email systems where you're like personalizing emails at scale and then sending them out for clients. That's obviously going to be super easy to sell because you're getting them leads. They're not even inbound, they're outbound, which is even more easy to sell because a lot of companies think they have their inbound on track. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, this bloke, I already have all my inbound leads. This bloke's not going to be able to do anything for me. Some people think like that. Some people don't. Smart business owners don't think like that. But if you're getting these leads out of thin air for people, that's going to be super, super easy to sell. So for outbound, something like that, cold outreach or cold LinkedIn systems and things like that, cold SMS. And then for inbound, as I said before, like lead qualifiers or, something that like when someone submits a form, you set up like a voice caller to qualify them and then book them in within like a minute. These things are super, super powerful and I've made them and they're, you know what I mean? They're gonna, if you know anything about sales, like you need to be replying to leads and qualifying them as soon as possible. You want to be, that's when the lead's interested, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you can kind of help their outbound and inbound or just one or the other, that's gonna be the easiest thing to sell, if that makes sense. And then yeah, another point is use your automations in your own business. This is something I do every day. So not all automations, but there's automations that I build for clients and I use the exact same systems for myself and they get me revenue as well. So it's a double-edged sword. I'm using automations that I've made for clients for my own business and these, whether they're inbound, outbound systems, things like that. Not even, they don't even, some of the automations I use aren't even about sales. I've got like, content generation automations that I've got something that posts on LinkedIn every day and I don't even have to look at it. Do you know what I mean? So things like that, these automations are time savers and they're revenue generators. So don't be afraid to use them in your own business. And you can use yourself as a case study. If you use an automation for your business and it's killing it for yourself, don't be afraid to use yourself as a case study. Say, this automation helped me. You don't even have to say it's you. You could just make it up and say it's some random company. And you can just say how this automation helped you or, your made up company. So yeah, that's another thing because people forget that you can actually use these things for yourself. They're not just for clients. Here we go. So third tip, this is massive. You need to be posting content. So I don't really do short form. I'm definitely, might get into it, but long form on YouTube has opened up so many doors for me and I don't even have a massive following. Like I have 60 subscribers and the amount of emails I've received from people asking me to like prototype an automation for them, or I've made like I've not many, but I've made a few big deals from just people emailing me, business owners going, I liked your video, can you build XYZ for me? I'm not going to say the projects that I've been asked to do, but these projects are usually the projects I enjoy the most because they already respect you because they've come to you. I'm not going to them. They like what I do. They've been watching me. They've been following me, and their projects are always super obscure, and they're always the funnest projects because the projects that I do outbound for, so the projects that I'm trying to market, so the ones that I'm trying to sell to people, I kind of productize it, and I've been selling them for months and months, and they're not as exciting as these kind of one-off projects where people come to you, and you take a deep dive in their business, and you solve this massive problem for someone. They're the most satisfying projects. So long form, short form content, it's absolutely massive for automation AI. It's massive for anything. I think all people should be posting content if you do anything in the online space. But yeah, and I've been able to sell like an 8 and templates. It's another revenue stream. And people are always emailing me, asking me for help and things like that. And it's always good, helping someone out, giving people advice. So 100% start content if you're going to start this, AI journey. 100% cannot recommend this enough. And you never know where it's going to go. Like, I'm nowhere near a massive creator at all, but the potential to scale, and with every month that goes on, you get more and more requests for automations. You're getting more and more love from people. So yeah, the scalability on this is massive, and it's just another avenue for leads, basically. So yeah, definitely do content, and content can just be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You obviously know. Now using LinkedIn, this is obviously kind of content, but I slept on this for a long time, and LinkedIn's massive for inbound leads. I've got an automation that posts on LinkedIn every day or a few days, and it basically just advertises one of my automations that I've been trying to like target market agencies with, and people reply. They send reactions. You can kind of they might react to your post, and then you can kind of that's an invitation for you to like DM them, start conversations. I've set up multiple calls with leads through just posting on LinkedIn and like adding people, networking with like agencies and stuff like that. You never know what could happen on LinkedIn, and it's not really a difficult place to. You can just, doesn't have to be anything cool of a post. You can just take a photo of like some results for one of your clients. Like it doesn't have to be. It doesn't be some 20-minute long YouTube video that takes hours and hours. Like little posts, and then like connect with a couple people every day. LinkedIn takes about 10 minutes a day, and it's a massive killer if you're doing anything with B2B businesses. Like it's don't sleep on it. Like it's huge, and I don't even have a big following either, but I've got leads from this. So yeah, 100% definitely recommend using LinkedIn. And the good thing about LinkedIn as well is it gives you presence online. So I've cold emailed businesses, and I never hear back for months, and then out of nowhere they'll book a call in through my LinkedIn because they did some research on me weeks later, if that makes sense. So it's like a website. Do you know what I mean? You don't even need a website these days. You can just have a good social media presence, and then it goes a long way. Like I'll show you my LinkedIn right now, for example. You can see like I've got a little tab. You can see I've got a tab here, book now, and that goes straight to my Calendly. If you click that, it goes to my Calendly, and you can just book a call in. So anyone can come here. They can go straight to my YouTube. They can go straight to my booking link, and then I'm posting every day, results and stuff like that. So yeah, do not sleep on it. It's massive. Great way to get inbound leads. Moving on. Yeah, this kind of goes along with what I've already said, but yeah, don't sell to everyone. Pick a niche or two and stick with it. So this is kind of a trial and error thing. Like in the beginning, you're going to obviously want to target a lot of people. But the thing is, if you can find niches that your product solves very, very well, so these niches are going to be the ones you want to target, because if you can learn a niche inside out, so when I say niche, I mean like, marketing agencies or real estate or, whatever. if you can learn one of these niches and find the perfect automation that suits that niche, get really good at it, become the best at that niche and that solving that exact issue for that niche, you can just keep on scaling and scaling, because it's so easy once you're only doing one thing. When you're trying to do this automation for that niche and some other sales automation, and then you're doing like some content generation for, a YouTube channel, you can never scale because you're trying to learn all these different things and you're trying to run all these separate things. When you can productize it, make it super easy for yourself, and just, send it to, you're doing outreach to like one niche, it takes a lot less sort of, I don't know how to say it, but you kind of know what I mean. And then, yeah, once you can consistently provide for that niche, your confidence grows. So confidence is massive. Like, this is something that no one really says, but when you start, especially if you've never ran a business before, you're not confident that you can help these businesses. But once you find that niche that you understand and you know how exactly to help, because every client builds your skill. So once you've helped the exact same client do the exact same issue, 5 or 6 times, you have so much confidence that you can help them, and that confidence therefore makes you better at it. And obviously trial and error, you've done this for so long now that you know what works, what doesn't. So confidence is a huge thing with this. No one really speaks about it, but in the beginning I was scared to charge because I didn't know if I'd actually be able to help them and all these things. But once you can get confidence in a niche, and it's like when you're starting a new niche or a new automation, it's scary because you don't know whether it's actually going to work out or not. So yeah, that's why I say make sure you can nail something and just be confident with it. So yeah. Now tip 6, don't get overwhelmed by all the tools, new things. This again is kind of similar, but yeah, the space is changing every day and not everything is actually useful, and a lot of the things just do the same thing as something else, but just with a different like sort of backdrop. Use the softwares that actually suit your offer and product. I said that before, but yeah, there's certain softwares that you do need 100%. I recommend investing in software that is going to make your offer and your business better, and I recommend any software that's going to improve your offer, results. I highly recommend. I don't recommend cheaping out. I recommend getting the best of the best software, but don't get unnecessary things just because it looks cool or you think it might do some little cool thing. Get what you need. Get the best product, the best software for what your offer is. Learn them, and then just everything else is noise. I'm not saying don't learn new things, but don't try and like cloud yourself with all these new softwares. Like there's so many things that I've seen come and go in the AI space within the last year, and I've never even tried them. And then I hear about them 3 months later, and they're like, "Oh, it was just a little craze. It wasn't even like wasn't even anything." Do you know what I mean? All this hype, and then they all just not die, but they realize that this is just another like copy of something else, but just looks a bit cooler. Does that make sense? So for what I do, I use these every day. Half of them aren't even AI products really. It's just Claude, Gemini, Apollo. That's just like a lead database. N8N, obviously, make.com. These are just automation platforms. You guys obviously know about those. Instantly, that's for cold email. And then, yeah, Calendly and Google Sheets. That's basically it. These are like pretty much everything that I use in day-to-day life for my offers and my business. Obviously, I know I hear about Claude Code a lot. That is something I actually do want to look into. But this does exactly what I need to do and does exactly what I need to do to deliver results. So why change it, if that makes sense? Why would I need to try and add extra pressure, learn new things? It's just not needed. I obviously love to learn new things and get better at what I do, but a lot of the stuff is unnecessary if one thing works, if that makes sense. So moving on is outreach. This is how you're going to be getting clients. So the biggest problem, obviously, in the beginning is getting clients, and it took me months and months to get a client. And the thing that you need to understand is it's all about outreach in the beginning. No one knows you, and if you're not reaching out to people every day, no one's ever going to find you. Now, do this alongside content. So if you're posting consistently good videos and you're doing outreach to a good scale, and when I say good scale, I mean like 200 emails a day, like minimum, if you want to be getting clients within the next 8 months. Like, you can't just be doing like 20 manual emails a day, or like cold calling a few businesses every now and then. Like, you need to be doing massive amounts. You can't expect people to even hear you out consistently enough without doing this sort of outreach. And I recommend more than 200, to be honest. I recommend 300 plus. If you want to be booking meetings at least every week. So this is the kind of stuff that no one wants to say, but it's true. This is what you have to do. So yeah, you don't know anyone yet. You have to be sending loads of outreach. I recommend cold email because it's the easiest. And by domain, don't use like a Gmail account. I know I did that in the beginning and it's just a waste of time. These things land in spam if you don't have them, all checked out and things. By domain, set up all your, the DMARC and all that, CNAME and stuff. Set up all well, make automation so you don't have to be typing all the emails. Make an automation that sends all the emails for you, and then, find friends and stuff and businesses that you already know. So one of my first clients was one of my friends who has a business, and he was like my second client, I believe. And again, all these clients you get, it just builds your confidence. So take advantage of people you already know, because they already trust you, and yeah, it's going to build your confidence. And then cold calling. I personally don't cold call, but I know so many people who kill it cold calling. So if you have that sort of confidence, 100% give it a go. And then, as I said, pair this with posting content and LinkedIn, connecting and posting on LinkedIn as well. If you do those 3 things, you should be able to land clients within the next 3 months with if you have a good product and a good offer. Something to do with sales is what I recommend, but obviously if you can solve another problem really well, by all means. But yeah, I think that might be all my tips. So I hope that gave you some sort of context, and these are things that I just learned from experience that I would have loved to have known when I first started. But yeah. So I hope that was somewhat interesting and somewhat helpful. I think these are the tips that I definitely came to my head first. There's probably little other things that I'll think of later, but these are the main things that if you do these, you will definitely speed run your progress 100%. Like, these are the most killer things that I've experienced. There's obviously little tips here and there when it gets more sort of obscure and you're talking about like specific systems. These are very general tips. They kind of apply to everybody. But yeah, obviously when it comes to like delivering an actual service and stuff like that, it gets a bit more sort of complex. But these things are just important for anyone running, even just an agency or a business. Doesn't even have to be AI. A lot of these tips will just apply to anybody. But yeah, hope this was somewhat helpful. Again, any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to help you guys out. But yeah, cheers.